Okay, I had this friend and we would play this game where basically like one person would lie down and then the other person would just like, we pretended that the bunk bed was like a machine and you would be like just laying down and then they would transform you into an animal. Wow. And she would just explain what she was doing and what buttons she was pressing.
Oh, that's
and then
it.
It would be like
explaining.
The explaining. It was like, oh, and this is going to take away like the hair or like this will like give you fur and it'd be like shoop, 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 like making noises about giving you fur. It was such an ASMR experience. Shoop.
Hey, everybody. I'm Scott.
And I'm Macy, and welcome to No Small Thing.
What episode is this? Do you even know?
11, because we just did a 10.
Enneagram, yeah.
And we've been on like a semi-hiatus, 3 weeks.
Semi-hiatus from doing like a show together.
Yeah.
But you've been up to a lot of things.
That's true, but they haven't been 0 number shows. Scott's back.
Side note, somebody looked at our feed and caught that in one of our numbers, it says 00 a number. And one of them, it was 00 a number. And I don't know how that happened. Isn't that weird?
It looks different. It looks flatter.
Yeah.
Weird.
yeah. But
I noticed, but I didn't think we could change it.
Oh, yeah, we can change it. But I didn't notice that. And what a nice person. This was an old... Shout out Will Schaefer. Thanks for catching that.
Know. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like I mean, we're not talking about Enneagram tonight, but there is a perfectionistic side of me that comes out with this stuff, and I want the feed to look a certain way for some reason. There's some goodness to it, but there's some weirdness to it.
Yeah, that's probably true. I appreciate it. I think it looks nice. I wouldn't care. If it didn't fit that, it wouldn't ruin my day.
I want people to know that if anybody out there has some feedback, give us some feedback.
We would love
about
feedback.
Podcasts, but about about the way our feed looks.
Oh gosh,
does anybody care about this? I care.
Yeah, people.
How does
I
our
don't know
feed
if people
look?
care.
I want it to make sense. I want people to be able to find what they want. That's my big thing.
That makes sense. You want it to be when you look at us. Okay.
Like I like that it says Macy Rant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So can we then talk about what we're gonna talk about next?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
So, or do you want to
introduce the topic?
Oh yeah, tonight you guys, we have such a good topic. We have such a good topic. Or today, whenever you're listening.
Tonight we're talking about ASMR.
ASMR. If you don't know what ASMR is, it stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response.
But I think for now, you should just keep listening if you're in any way interested, because we're going to do some announcements first.
Yeah, just a few quick announcements.
That's the topic for the night.
Yeah.
And I hope if you don't know what that is, you're a little intrigued.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because we are fans of ASMR.
Mm-hmm.
Big time fans.
And we're also, one of us is a creator of ASMR.
I try. Okay, so announcements. One big announcement that we have. If you listen to podcasts or have heard of this, there's this thing called Patreon, which you said it really well the other day. What did you call it? Like benefactors of today or whatever?
Yeah, the benefactors.
But it's...
Or patrons.
Yeah, that's probably actually the right word. But basically, it's a way for us as a podcast to start, like, building budgets to hopefully create better content for you guys as an audience. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you want better mics or you want better editing and things like that, we want to be able to grow as a podcast. And the only way to do that is to start probably physically growing, too.
Yep.
But with that, we also want to, like, provide something more for people who... decide that they are, I don't know, fans of No Small Thing and believe in this podcast. It's kind of like if you believe in this thing and you care about it, we're going to provide some content for you guys as well. But you can become a patron of us. So that will be set up.
I was just on vacation. We were in Italy. And so we went to Venice, and obviously we saw a lot of museums. We went to this museum in Venice called the Guggenheim Museum. And there's this woman who, oh man, it's just like in a different life. You could be this type of person. You're kind of both and. But Peggy Guggenheim was this extremely wealthy person. I don't know where she got her wealth, but she was an art collector. So
not that person.
Yeah, you visited her house, but this is the life she led. Is she was a supporter and she loved to highlight artists and the arts. So that's how she lived her life. And her house where she lived in Venice was filled with the best art in the world, essentially. And so now you go to her house. Her dogs are buried there, and her babies are buried there, meaning her special dogs. 8 dogs are buried right next to her.
Wow.
She had these dogs that she loved.
Wow.
But one of the things that I didn't understand was like she essentially empowered / discovered Jackson Pollock. And there's a whole room of Jackson Pollock paintings, and there's all these stories about how like she worked so hard to get him out into the public by supporting him financially and making sure that he could live so he could paint. And it's just so interesting to think about that relationship that an artist or a creator has with the people that are supporting them.
Yeah.
And I think Macy and I have both said that if we're dreaming and thinking out loud, it would be cool to do this as a job someday. Right now, it's like a hobby.
Right now it's like
a really fun hobby.
But
if we could go all in,
we would love to go all in.
So yeah, right now you're talking about like mics. It'd be so cool to have cooler mics. That's the first step. But if someday,
and also like subscription fees. So like we could get on Spotify and like things like that, because we want to be able to reach more people.
Bring up Spotify.
And so like there's different things that actually, like, to create a podcast, you don't realize there's a little bit of overhead.
We're already paying for a SoundCloud subscription. It's not much money, but it's like, obviously we're not making any money.
Yeah, so. And we're obviously already in because we got mics to do this.
Yeah, we bought our microphones.
So we're a business. Are we a business?
Not officially. I don't even know how you do that. Like you're registered or something.
But podcasts are kind of businesses.
In a loose sense of the word. Yeah, they could become, for sure. But we're not currently. But I also want to say, in terms of the way Patreon works. So maybe some of you are listening, you're like, oh, I know Patreon. I support people on Patreon. Personally, I support people on Patreon.
Yeah. I do too.
Yeah. And one of the things it does is we'll have our, essentially like the front of house, like the front of the store, where you see all the stuff that we're doing. That's the podcast. Yeah. And then we have some sort of behind the scenes type stuff that are just for the people supporting us on Patreon.
Yeah.
We don't have anything yet, but
we will.
We will. And it will honestly, like, probably eventually be dictated by the people supporting us on Patreon. Like, what do you want to hear? What would be good,
Yeah, like one of our favorite podcasts, our inspiration, Knox and Jamie, the Popcast, for their Patreon supporters, they do Ask Us Anythings. Which is very fun because it's like you almost get secret information about them.
So that's only there will be certain content that's only available for Patreon supporters, and one of them I think is going to be Macy doing ASMR, and this whole thing is to describe ASMR. So
So hopefully, you'll get Macy ASMR weekly on Patreon if you are a subscriber to Patreon.
Weekly.
So
wow.
Yeah.
Are we calling it At the Table with Macy?
The name is still being figured out. I may have like an ASMR second pseudonym.
Ooh.
I think it's Moody Mooney.
Moody Mooney.
Because there's such a vibe. There's such a vibe to my ASMRs.
Yeah, Moody Mooney. I like it. It really fits.
Yeah. So was that clean? Is that all our announcements?
We want to ask people to rate and review us.
Oh, yeah. 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 Because it means a lot, and it helps us to reach more people. And like, if you believe, I think that we're doing something fun and that I think could be beneficial and fun for people. So if you liked listening, sharing is so helpful, and rating and review. It just gets it out there.
I don't know how the algorithms on iTunes work, but I think it bumps us up.
It does bump us up.
And like, and stuff
if someone were to type Enneagram, and if we had more ratings and reviews, maybe our episodes would pop up. So sometimes I'll search on my search engine like Enneagram 4, and then I'll look at episodes. Yeah. And ours would be like higher up. Yeah. The more people rate and review.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would like that.
Yeah. Yep. we would like that, please. Thank you. Please rate and review us.
We're unapologetic.
I think that's it for
I think
announcements.
that's it. Also, thank you everyone who is sticking around and still listening to us after this. Like, we had such strange episodes the past 3 weeks. They were so fun. If you listened, you already have heard an
They were great.
ASMR. You already know what rants are like, which will also be probably Patreon exclusive. And then you got a listening party for your ears. Okay, we're going to talk about ASMR because it matters to us. And we need to stop having long intros.
So that's our intro, and when we come back, we're going to start talking about ASMR.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk about some ASMR. We love ASMR.
Yeah, I want to make our joke that we were getting Slurpees, but...
Oh, Slurpees. I don't want a Slurpee. I want a Red Bull.
Oh, right. So tonight we're talking about ASMR. We're so excited. And
ASMR.
you sort of introduced it.
Yeah. So
She's already making ASMR sounds.
how would you define ASMR?
Okay, so I think
Okay.
there's like several parts of a story. It's like sounds, essentially. Sounds that make you feel something.
Sounds and images.
People call it tingles. And here maybe I have a weird definition of it. I think I experience it like kind of on the back of my head and neck.
It's like the back of your spine, the head. Yeah.
I really want to clarify that right off the bat that none of this is like sexual, although there wouldn't even be anything wrong with that. It's not like, but that's really not what this is.
Yeah, no, it's very like a relaxing sensation.
It's very relaxing.
It's like it's sweet and relaxing almost.
Sweet and relaxing.
Oh, I experienced such good ASMR this morning. Live ASMR.
I think we'll go through our different stories in parts, but
Yeah.
right off the bat, I want to say I have a memory, and I think I already told you this.
Yeah.
Of when I was a kid, I had a friend that was over at my house, and this is just a strange story. There's no way you could ever ask for this or even know what it was.
Yeah.
But he came to my house, and I had these things that were like Legos called constructs. And I played with constructs. I knew what they were, but for some reason, and this wasn't like a close friend of mine, so this was like kind of a rogue friend. He came over. His name is Devin.
Hi, Devin.
And he started explaining constructs to me. And part of me, which could have been annoyed, been like, I get it. I know what constructs are. But he was like opening the directions and like taking out the constructs and putting them together and like explaining it to me. Here's how constructs works. Here's what you do. Here's the piece. You take this piece. Here's step one. And he's like showing me.
Yeah.
And I just remember I had tingles. I remember in the back of my brain, I was like, why do I like this so much? I was probably 8.
Yeah.
But it was such a profound memory. I think about it. I've thought about it ever since. And I'm 39 now. And I've never, up until I discovered ASMR, had that experience again.
Yeah.
And when I found ASMR, I'm like, oh, this is it. This is what was happening in that moment. A side note, too, like, if anybody also wants to have a shorthand definition of ASMR, I think the king of ASMR, without even knowing it, was Bob Ross.
Oh,
that's
so
ASMR.
true. It's ASMR.
So if anybody has ever listened to or watched Bob Ross, you were doing ASMR. That's why people like it. It's soothing and calming. Nobody's painting along with Bob Ross.
Some people are.
No.
Some people,
offending the
I
painter.
recognize that you are out there painting along with Bob Ross. There are people out there.
Okay, I would say, I would love you to disagree with this. I would take a guess that 10% of the people watching Bob Ross are the ones painting.
I would say that's probably accurate.
Okay, nice.
I would agree with that. But I just don't want you to disregard the 10%. Yeah. Okay, can I explain a childhood story of ASMR?
Yes.
Okay, I had this friend and we would play this game where basically like one person would lie down and then the other person would just like, we pretended that the bunk bed was like a machine and you would be like just laying down and then they would transform you into an animal.
Wow.
And she would just explain what she was doing and what buttons she was pressing.
Oh, that's
and then
it.
It would be like
explaining.
The explaining. It was like, oh, and this is going to take away like the hair, or like this will like give you fur, and it'd be like shoop, 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 like like making noises about giving you fur. It was such an ASMR experience.
Shoop.
And I remember being like loving this. I would be like, can we just play this? I'll just be like, I would just lay there and just like love her explaining and giving the noises. And like,
I haven't heard this story either.
And I would get such tingles and I never understood what it was, but I just would like, it was great.
I wish somebody would explain it to us when we're that young. I wish somebody would, it's
Because-
so hard when you have this experience and this question, you have no reference point.
Yeah, I also think there's a sweetness to it of like it being, I think, so this is something that I don't think you could experience ASMR with someone that you don't feel like very safe with.
Right.
You know, like it's a very like innocent, like I don't know how to describe it, but.
Well, I haven't thought of this before, but now that we're describing both of our stories, maybe there's an element to ASMR that feels so childlike.
I think it's really childlike. I think, and so that was today. So I started a new job today working at a preschool, and everything is so sensory and like safe. And like we were just talking about the noises. It's a really cool preschool. So it's like almost ASMR like supporting.
Oh yeah, I'm not Macy's boss anymore.
Yeah, it's got some my boss. Woohoo. I don't think anything will change.
Yeah.
But what was I saying?
Oh, I got you sidetracked. You're at the plane. We're talking about innocence.
And well, innocence, but also these kids were just like playing with the noises and like experiencing the noises. And I bet they're probably maybe as children experiencing ASMR on some level. And we like forget that as we get older.
Well, in a little bit we're going to talk about like ASMR on YouTube. I think that's the end.
Yeah.
That's the end of this conversation. That's where it's heading, I think.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. And
yeah,
then
because there's such thing as like experiencing ASMR live, but then there's also like we are both people who watch and subscribe to ASM artists on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which
ASM,
are like
I think you accidentally said it, but I like that. ASM artists.
Yeah, that's what they are.
You don't call them ASMR artists?
I think it's ASM artists.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. Oh, you watched that video of the shoes. This wasn't even an ASMR video.
I'm going to talk about that in a second. That's the journey.
That's the journey. I don't think I didn't understand ASMR until I watched a specific ASMR video. And then I was able to look back on those memories and say, that is what I was experiencing. And now I can cultivate that experience more.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, just again, it's funny because I think we're balancing all these different things in this podcast. We're balancing like having a conversation between the two of us in this room and then an audience. And then also, like, I have to imagine there's people listening who already know what ASMR is.
Yeah.
And they're probably like, yeah, ASMR. But that's the funny thing. I like people describing it, even if I know what it is.
Yeah.
Because I like hearing people's own experience.
Yeah.
But then we're also sort of acting like people don't know what it is. So, because we like introducing things.
Yeah,
to
we're
people.
trying to be aware that for some people this is really foreign. And for some people, maybe it might even be scary because it is so foreign and it is such an unknown. And there are like weird rumors about it being super sexual. And
rumors?
Like, yeah, people like get it like.
Oh, is it kind of like a meme? Like if you bring up ASMR, it's like, ooh,
yeah.
ASMR.
Like the third question will be like, isn't that sexy? And I'm like, maybe 5% of the content. And it's like really like people
there
doing
are really
it. And it's
weird
not even
videos on YouTube.
That's not even ASMR though.
Yeah.
You know, I would be like, that's something else that maybe has the name ASMR in its title, but that's not what I would consider to be ASMR.
Yeah.
You know, like
that sounds like a really interesting, like philosophical debate.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
What is it and who gets to say and what's the line?
Yeah, that's true.
Eesh.
But
I think it's more preference. Like, what do you like?
Yeah, I guess that might be true.
I like it for relaxation. So
yeah.
I can't turn on something, even on YouTube, which is like obviously not like a pornographic website or something, you know, and have them like doing ear licking.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like that will like wake me up.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fall asleep to that.
Yeah.
It's just so yeah, it can get weird.
It can get weird, but it's for the most part like sorting pens.
Sorting pens. Yeah.
Or really, the thing is also like the title is role play, which has like in like some spheres sexual connotation, but it is role play in like a very childlike way. Role play.
Totally childlike way. It feels like
It feels like child. Like I feel like I experienced ASMR going to the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
great.
why. And
that
that's
hasn't been
why
said yet.
we experience. Yeah. So you probably did
Cotton
like getting
balls,
a checkup.
little wood presses and little tinkering in your ears and
like also the sense of somebody just like walking you through the procedure.
there's something about this idea of someone attending to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only probably gotten 5 massages in my life, but there's something.
Yeah, they terrify me.
Yeah, I mean, massages feel good. Something literally physical happens to your body, which is nice. You get loosened up and all that. But I think the thing I enjoy the most about it is this like attending to. Like somebody's like, here, now I'm going to do this. Now we're going to work on this side. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Something interesting about that.
It's this sense of like you're taken care of, and they're going to tell you exactly what you're going to experience, and you're going to experience it, and you like trust that that's going to be true. And there is, when you find there are certain ASMR artists that I think really cultivate that well. Yeah. And like cultivate that sense of security, which allows you to enter into the place to then experience the sounds on a fuller level. They're really artists. Cool. They really are artists about the way that they invite people to relax and create tingles, because you can become tingle immune. Did you know that? You can like develop.
Oh no.
People develop like immunity on some level because they like are so they like if you over watch or listen.
Oh no.
I know.
Is that true?
About that. I read about it. I mean, you could read about anything though, but I read an article about it, and they were just talking about like trying not to do it like watch ASMR every night, because you could eventually like develop like an immunity to the tingles.
I think it'd be this thing of like if you watched the same one, or if you like.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what some of these.
I think that's why artists have to put out new content.
Yeah. So, big sigh.
Here he goes, everybody.
Right.
Scott's journey.
So I think this is like 4 years ago. I was in Pasadena finishing up my master's degree, and we were coming back, and I wanted to buy my wife Marissa a pair of sunglasses, and I had heard about Warby Parker, and so I was going to do some online research to see if they were worth getting. And I was looking for reviews. Now, it's so funny, even now, in my mind these days, if I was looking for a review, I'd be looking for something with like an ASMR vibe to it. But at the time, I was really just wanting a review. I wanted somebody on YouTube. I wanted to look at somebody's face holding up Warby Parker sunglasses and telling me if they were good or not, or how their experience was. And found this guy. And it's nuts. I can't even find him anymore. For the longest time, I just kept finding. I think he took it down. I think he had There's some YouTubers who like have posted 4 videos, and they had no idea why they had a channel. And I think eventually they just take it down. You know. So I think this is one of the guys, and you don't see his face. He just puts a Warby Parker box and unboxes. So it's like an unboxing, which I think unboxing is like another version of ASMR.
Yeah, unboxing is. I think, and there's a huge unboxing culture.
Totally, and I think that was my inroad. And that was my entry. So I was watching this unboxing, and he's very gently explaining. This is the thing that's explaining.
It's explaining.
Here's this box. We all know what it is, you know. But like, I don't know why he was really being detailed with this review. You know, he's like, here's this. Oh, okay, here's how it's.
You don't have to think about it when someone's explaining it. You're just there experiencing the explanation. You just get to intake this sweet, like numbing information.
and I guess maybe I'm also a person that really likes details. So the fact that he starts by saying, I watched this probably 20 times. He starts by saying, I was halfway through this unboxing and then I realized I needed to film this. So he was liking the unboxing experience.
Oh,
so he says, "Here's
he's into it."
Yeah, so he said, "Here's the outer like UPS box," and you open it, and he's like, "Here is the Warby Parker box." Then you open that up, and it's got like the shell that you keep the glasses in, and then it's got the glasses, which are also wrapped in a little
Warby
towel.
Parker.
So he's loving this box within a box within a box. He's explaining it. And he's like, look at the detail on this outer shell, and it's just high quality. And then he opens the box, and they have like a little note that says, "Welcome to your sunglasses." He's like, look at this note. Like, so he's like just showing us all the textures and the experience and. I just was looking for this review, and all of a sudden, like, why am I liking this so much? And also being almost embarrassed that I'm continuing to go back and watch this video. Like, I'm like, I hope nobody realizes I'm watching this.
You like kept
video.
watching because you're like, I've already gotten the information. The original intent of the video was served, but I'm still going back to it.
And I had no reference point. I was like, this feels so weird. I would not want anybody knowing I'm doing this.
Oh, that's so interesting.
I had no reference point. Yeah, it was really strange. And then that led to some unboxing videos. So then I was like, I got into unboxings, and that was my second one. There was this guy. So that guy, I have no idea where he is. But here's a guy who I'm sure nobody will care about, but his name's Scoop208. Scoop208.
We'll put it on our show notes, we have a blog.
He is a wild human. Like, he exists to essentially unbox shoes. So he unboxes shoes. And he is a goofy man. Like, I kind of like him. But I watched so many of his unboxing videos for shoes.
Yeah.
Then I kind of got into shoes because of him. Like, I love the way he'd unbox a pair of shoes and then explain the shoes. Here's the shoes. Look at this. Look at this detail. Look what they did.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. So he had a random video. He had a random video in the midst of all his unboxings where he was trying to sell some things. So he's like, here's my keyboard. He's not even doing ASMR, but he's like touches his keyboard. He takes a microphone out that he didn't like before. And then Macy, I showed her this and she really resonated with this. All of a sudden he gets to this box of paints.
Oh.
Cause he had a season in his life where he's like customizing his shoes. So he has like you don't see him. He has the microphone like centered on this box, and he's like, here's this little box. He's like shaking the paint, and he's like touching the paints, and like it's just like the sounds.
I'm a little bit experiencing ASMR right now, by the way.
And it wasn't intended to be ASMR. I think he probably got some feedback. He has about 500,000 subscribers, and now he has an ASMR channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's not very good
Unintentional ASMR is a thing, too.
Yeah,
people will search that,
thing.
unintentional ASMR. Yeah. Or there's so much coded language within ASMR, too, like terminology.
Which I probably don't even know about. So I don't know. I think I probably watched that particular video, no joke, 30 times.
Wow.
And it was this thing where it's like my kids would go to bed, everybody go to bed, and I'd watch a show. And I'd still be up, and I'd be like, I got to calm down. I'm going to watch that Scoop208 video.
And then you watch it?
I'll say, if anybody wants to find it, go find it, because you'd probably enjoy it. It's a nonsense video in the sense that it's just a guy trying to get rid of some stuff, but you'll understand what I'm talking about. And you can go on the journey with me. We can't go find the Warby Parker
Not everybody loves ASMR,
though.
So
see if you like this.
Yeah.
It's called Scoop208. He's the guy. That's his channel. And it's Dreamcast.
We'll put a link on our WordPress.
Sure.
We have a blog and we have show notes, and we're gonna link to that in one of our Instagram posts.
So I think maybe YouTube suggested something or something, and I was
like an ASMR.
Yeah, like an ASMR, and I didn't know what it meant or what it was, and I probably clicked on it and liked it, and then that got me in.
Was it GB?
I don't know. I don't know how I found GB. How did I find her?
How did you find GB?
I would guess that my first ASMR video was ASMR Darling.
Oh,
and she's kind of like, I think she has even more subscribers than GB, but I don't like her as much as GB.
I've watched a few of her videos, but then I'm like, but I could be watching GB or Karuna Satori.
So I want to say that's my journey. I think in a little bit we'll talk about GB and some other ASMR channels and stuff. And we'll talk about Macy's ASMR.
We could do a whole episode just on GB.
Yeah, I know we could. But that's my journey. That's how it happened for me. And I'll just say this as, okay, so on the one hand, we say to people that already watch ASMR, so good.
What was your journey?
What was your journey? Tell us.
Yeah.
How did you discover
Send us an
it?
email. Send us
Yeah.
an email. What is your journey? If you do like ASMR.
Yeah.
Because I'd be curious.
It's still, my
No small
sense
thing
of it-
podcast at gmail.com.
There it is. We've gotten an email.
We've gotten an email that was like the coolest email, and I think we'll share about it in our Enneagram episode.
yeah.
But like receiving that email was amazing
Mm-hmm.
and was so helpful for us as hosts.
It really
We
was.
want to create interaction. So if you have stories, we would love stories.
Yes.
Send it.
You send it. I want to say to people that watch ASMR, I'm glad that you're in the club and now we're all in the club together. I think it's really great.
Oh, it's a
but
good
for those
club.
who haven't, like, I think this is Macy and I live out in the universe. This is why one of the reasons we started this. We like to be the people recommending things to people.
Yes,
I think.
we do.
And for better or for worse, like in social settings, I'm very aware internally if somebody starts recommending, I get uncomfortable. And that's not great. I need to work on that.
Yeah, I think
I
do
like
too.
being the one recommending.
I agree. I'm like, well, but I have
Better taste.
we are doing the hard work of the Enneagram, which I
Yeah.
think has made us really unapologetically like aware of ourselves.
Introspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love to be the one that's sharing something
Yeah.
because I wouldn't share something unless I think it's worth sharing.
Yeah. And so how do
Which
we
is
capture
probably
that?
true for everyone.
How do we
and I
actually
should
utilize
be aware
it?
of that.
Yeah. How do we utilize it though? You know, how do we say we like recommending things? And that's part of the podcast. It's like,
Yeah.
here's something.
Yeah, and if you're looking for something, so should I share my journey?
Yeah.
Or are you done with your journey?
I'm going to say this and then we'll be done. But like, it's a strength finders thing. I think both of us, or is Rebecca the only guru?
Yeah, she might be the only guru.
Yeah. But so I'm not, if anybody knows strength finders, I'm not, my unique strengths don't make me technically a guru, but in my top strengths are input, ideation, and intellection. And in their descriptions of those strengths, they say something along the lines in terms of career suggestions of being a consultant or some sort of guru where you're an expert on something so that you can talk about it and give advice.
Interesting.
Those are your sweet spots.
I have two of those.
Mm-hmm. I think you have input and ideation.
Yeah.
So it's just similar with you. Like, I like the idea that I'm telling people about ASMR. For whatever that's worth.
I do too.
All right, what's your journey?
Oh, okay. Okay, so my journey, so this is why I wanted to talk about it, is because I like recommending things because there are times where things that are recommended to me have been so helpful. And ASMR was one of them. So
Yeah, that's another thing is like we do like getting recommendations, but we're just a little bit
it
pickier.
takes a long time.
Yeah.
This is something that a lot of my friends get really frustrated with me with, actually, is that it takes like 10 people. And then like someone will come around and say it. And then like I'll finally be like, fine. And then I'll dig in.
Yes.
And then now all of a sudden I've dug in and then I'm like, I love this thing. And then
Yeah.
to all the 10 people who suggested, I'll be like, do you know about this thing?
Oh.
And they're like, I told you about
That's
it
great.
3 months ago.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like hyper into it. So that's probably me in ASMR.
Yeah.
I don't really remember who suggested it, but there was someone suggested I watch doodling videos.
That's
And-
perfect for you.
Yeah.
So at the time, it's like me. You didn't even know it was ASMR.
No, and it was a very stressful season. I'm a stressed person. It's kind of often a stressful season. But hence why I love ASMR. And so I sometimes have trouble with like settling my brain down. And doodling is something that is helpful for me in that. And ASMR is something that's helpful for me. And so I was looking for videos of how to doodle, which you guys might be wondering, what do you mean how to doodle? There's like very simple ways that you can learn to just be able to mindlessly draw that like
I'm learning right here now. Never knew
like
that.
there are ways and it can be modeled and there are ASMR videos and YouTube videos of how to doodle that like help you to just like be able to endlessly doodle. It's very cool.
Ooh.
But I mean, you've seen I doodle.
Right, but I haven't seen these videos.
Oh yeah. So ASMR doodling.
But you're also saying some of them aren't even ASMR.
Yeah,
At
some
least,
aren't even
I guess
ASMR.
unintentional ASMR. They're just videos teaching how to doodle. Oh, sounds great.
Yeah. So if you want to learn how to doodle, everybody, I doodled in class. I cannot sit in a classroom without having something to fidget with. I am highly engaged, though.
I have a fidget spinner
everybody,
right now.
don't worry, I'm still highly engaged. I don't think those work in terms of fidgeting. I never.
Can you hear them in the microphone, you think?
Yeah, you can. Is the microphones really loud?
Yeah. Macy's making ASMR now.
Okay, so I watched this video. I brought it up because I didn't remember her name, but I watched a ton of these. I just started getting into them, and then I was like, I'm watching more of the videos than I am doodling. Why is that happening? And she would just begin by like having her Sharpies out and explain what Sharpie she was going to use. And it was like, these are fine point Sharpies. And then like, it was like, she would like describe what she was doing. Yeah, describe what she was doing and how she was doodling. And like, then like there would be moments where she would just doodle. And it was just like the paper, super high quality mics and these Sharpies on the paper.
Yeah.
And it just was, I was mesmerized. And also like aesthetically, I'm just watching someone doodle and just like explore and just like creatively create circles and lines. And like, that's the thing is it's such simple circles and lines and like squiggles, and yet it creates something beautiful. So that's also what it's so cool about it. So this person, ASMR Sounds by Sophie / eccentricity body painting. I've never watched her body painting videos.
Well, body painting.
I don't know what that is. But if you just type in doodling, she has so many. And there's other ones out there, but hers I think are really good. Whispering, drawing, doodling, Zentangle. Wow.
That sounds great.
There it is.
As Macy would say, I'm here for it.
You're here for it. So that was my first ASMR. I didn't at all feel the shame.
I think that's an age thing. I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's a generational thing. Your generation is so much more comfortable with YouTube.
Yeah.
To me, it still seems weird, and there's still stigmas.
Yeah.
Like, I think, especially your friend group, knowing your friend group.
Yeah, they're all like.
If you said, oh, I watch ASMR, they're like, great.
We all love ASMR.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be sitting and being like, this is an ASMR thing, and we'll find an object. And
but even if they didn't know what it was, I think they have, I don't know the best way to say this, but they all have a little bit more of a familiarity
they're not as weirded out.
And comfortability with how would I put it? Like, all of the variety of things that are on the internet.
Yeah, like, I don't think people understand how much YouTube is like TV for so many people.
Yeah.
And like the source of so much information and content, and there's channels, and people are like,
I hardly watch TV anymore.
Yeah, but I watch YouTube.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah, and I guess
and there's worlds on YouTube.
Yeah, whole worlds.
Whole cultures, comments, people, groups, like
communities.
So it's like, this is weird to some people, but there's so many other weird things.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. My generation grew up on TV. And of course yours did too, but you also had YouTube. Like,
yeah, I like got YouTube when I was in like 6th grade.
I'll say this. Very few of my friends, my peers, it would even say like my male peers who I talk with, at least to my knowledge, and maybe they're going to correct me after I say this, don't, first of all, typically watch sports. So we all know that that's not what I'm watching.
Yeah.
You know, so they spend their time doing that and then checking stats and talking about stats and playing fantasy sports and stuff like that. That's fine. There's no disdain in my voice. No disdain. Blessings on all that. I'm just not part of that club. But then watching shows and TV too. And I don't have very many peers, if any, that sit and watch YouTube.
Yeah.
Maybe they do. And this is the thing. Maybe they're embarrassed. That's the thing. Like YouTube for a particular age and generation, I think, feels young It feels like an adolescent young thing to do. And I think it isn't, but that's the stigma.
Well, that's really interesting. I don't know.
Like if I came let's just paint the picture. If I came into a staff meeting, here's an example. I remember for a devotional at my old church, Bethany, during a session meeting. Don't worry about what a session meeting is if you don't know what it is. But it's 50 adults who run the church having a big meeting. The guy leading the devotional talked about Downton Abbey, which I love. I'm so in love with Downton Abbey. And it was very obvious that this was a respectable thing to say, and that everybody else in the room had watched Downton Abbey mostly and knew what he was talking about. If I was at a staff meeting at our church and I said, last night I opened by doing a devotional, I was watching YouTube, it wouldn't be respectable. It wouldn't be the same type of thing, you know. I could say I could start the devotional by saying I was watching Downton Abbey. Ooh, Downton Abbey, yes, you know.
Oh, interesting.
Or whatever show is currently respectable. I don't know what people would say now, you know.
Yeah, but you could say that to our youth group.
But if I said YouTube, it's like, oh, the youth pastor watching YouTube.
The youth pastor.
Whatever, you know. People over probably 35 or 40 don't really take YouTube seriously.
Maybe some.
Yeah. Oh, some for sure. I'm just talking about my weird little world.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a sense where I think we just have more like probably fluency on some of these platforms. Probably in a maybe not a healthy way. Who knows? Who knows the effect that all of this has on our development? A lot.
Well, any of these things, whether it's social media or YouTube, the problem is that it never ends. That's the beauty and the tragedy. Is like in the old days, we were talking about Seinfeld the other day. You watched Seinfeld, you didn't get any more. There was no other place you could go to get more. Seinfeld came on and it was over.
Yeah.
You didn't have a DVR.
Yeah.
You didn't, unless you recorded some old VHSs.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't get another Seinfeld episode. It was like, there we did. We watched Seinfeld. Now we're doing something else. If you like something on YouTube, you can go, and another one, and another one, and another one.
Oh, true.
And I've watched all their videos. Let's go watch this person's videos. And another one, and another one.
Yeah, there is a sense of endlessness nowadays.
So you have to have some self-control.
You do.
Yeah. Okay, so you watch these videos with the pens.
Yeah, so that was my first ASMR experience. And that, first of all, taught me how to doodle, which was sweet, and I've doodled ever since. But also, I realized that I loved ASMR, and I liked the sounds. I was like, I don't know why, but I do. I really like this. And some people don't. And, like, some people were like, I don't like it. And, like, but...
That's fine.
That's fine. But I knew I really, really liked it. But I think I like phased out of it for a little bit. I like didn't listen to ASMR for a while. And then I got into it with this other ASMR artist named Karuna Satori, who just was so cool. I just liked her. Karuna Satori. She's like a hippie.
Ooh.
I really love it. She'll like the first ASMR.
I don't know her, so maybe I'll go listen to her tonight.
The first ASMR video I watched of her was her like, she had all these crystals, and she just like explained what the crystals like energies were, and like
that's what you do.
I know. I really am influenced by the people. I doodle, and I do crystal things.
Crystal things.
But she just explained it, and she was so wholesome and caring.
Wholesome. ASMR is wholesome.
ASMR is
a
wholesome.
certain type.
Yeah, I'm here for wholesome ASMR. So, yeah, that was like the next in. And then you told me about GB, and then I discovered GB, and I kind of liked her, and then I love GB now. She's the winner, in my opinion. She's the best ASMR artist out there.
I'm glad you think that. That's so fun that we bond on that.
Yeah.
So maybe let's describe GB for a second.
Yeah, we should talk about GB because she's like your ride or die.
I think I'm not. Okay, let me say it this way. Let me. Now we've kind of reached a pinnacle of sorts. A destination. We've kind of set it up. And what is ASMR? I think for me personally, it has to be something different for everybody, I'm sure. It's a way to end the day, so to speak. Sometimes maybe I'm too tired, but like if I'm restless and Macy has a different lifestyle than me, just in terms of I have kids. So like my house, it's gotten complicated in the last like 2 years. My kids go to bed later now. They're 14 and 12.
Yeah.
So in the early days, my kids would go to bed at like 7. And Marissa, my wife, and I would stay up and watch shows and movies and have a life. Now Marissa, my wife, goes to bed early. The kids stay up later. So I have like an hour. I'll watch a show. Maybe I'll read something. But if I'm restless, which I tend to be, I'll watch ASMR. So for me, it's a way to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And a fun way to go to sleep. Like, I look forward to watching ASMR.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's not like a weird like meditation sleep in your ears video. There's something about ASMR that like, and I think this is something if we're going to be talking about GB that it's like very real. Like GB is such a relatable person. And there's something about her that invites you in. It makes you feel safe to be like just there and like you trust yourself and you're just like comfortable, which allows you, I think, to like your mind to be at ease almost.
Yeah. Those three, you said 3 words: safe, trust, and comfortable.
Yeah.
Those are the things. Like, I feel very safe. It sounds funny to say you're in complete control. You're in your living room watching a computer. But like, if you are trying to unwind and relax and have tingles or whatever that is.
Yeah.
You're in good hands. Like, she just doesn't do anything that catches you off guard or, well, in a bad way, you know?
Yeah, it's like you're going to get like, so like, should we explain like ASMR roleplay kind of?
Yeah. Let me say one of the ones that my favorite GB one, I think, and I don't know a title of it, but
your favorite?
Well, there might be new ones that have surpassed
I think I know my favorite.
Oh, you do? This I guess because it's also been fun to watch her like to start with not tons of subscribers, and now she's over 1 million, so that's kind of fun to watch.
She used to have a Patreon and has now moved past her Patreon
Patreon.
She was like, I can support myself now.
That's crazy.
It's really cool and special.
She's living the dream.
She's our hero.
So there is one where it's for lack of a better word, like a really janky one where she has not gotten very professional yet. And for a long time, it was her most viewed, and I'm sure it's one of those.
Is it the video game one?
It's the video game one. Yeah, and I love it. Like it seems
so
like
good.
she's sitting in her living room in her parents' basement or something with a couch, and she's pretending to be like a video game sales clerk. And it's obvious that she's basically just taken the video games from her house that she plays and likes and is pretending to sell them to you. And she's explaining each one. And she takes out like different controllers. I think just in terms of ASMR, like the controllers that she's attempting to sell to you are one of the highlights because controllers make really cool ASMR sounds. Yeah. So she really indulges in that, and like we'll take out a gun or something, but she taps on the cases, and she's playing a certain role, like this sort of surfer hippie.
She'll play roles. So that's the thing is they'll play funky roles while still being calming.
Yeah. So you're just, I think this isn't technical, but I think it really removes you from your current context. You enter a different world. I mean, as weird as it sounds, I know she's sitting in her basement, but at the same time, I'm kind of following along with her role play. Like, I'm buying some video games, interesting video game. Oh, I like that controller, you know?
And it's so funny because there's some videos where she's like, she plays different characters. Like, what's the elf one? The measuring your ear length?
Oh, yeah.
She's like so sassy.
Is it Missy? Something like that. Mistletoe. Yeah, extra sassy. She has a lot of characters, and they're all so different.
Yeah, which is really cool in terms of like being, so they call people who make videos on YouTube consider themselves ASM artists. And like, it's actually really cool as a person who like subscribes to videos. They take it seriously. Like they take their fan bases seriously.
She does 3 uploads a week, right on schedule.
And like the community around her or around any probably ASM artist on YouTube, it's usually a very supportive, caring community. The artists are very aware that this is reaching a community of people who are restless, who are having trouble sleeping, who need something to calm them down. And I think they're typically really sensitive to that, which is really cool.
Yeah, GB seems like she has a mission. Like she seems like she's really trying to help.
Yeah, it's
I think
really,
she was helped by ASMR.
I think she was helped by ASMR. I think anyone who's doing ASMR is being helped by ASMR too. There is something about doing ASMR that isn't in itself therapeutic, but we can get to that later. But no, I think GB like gives, and other artists, Karuna Satori does this as well. There's an underlying almost message or just like wanting you to feel safe and good about yourself that like is being said through the way they're taking care of you, which I think continues to tell you this message of like you're good, and that's nice.
Yeah,
that helps you like if you're feeling restless, that's helpful to hear.
Yes, 100%. I think that brings us to the end of our GB discussion, but I think the next thing we want to talk about is the fun development that this has taken is that Macy has started doing ASMR.
Yeah. I don't know what we want to say about that.
I think
you should ask questions.
Yeah. How did you decide to do that? What happened? I can't believe you're doing it. It's so cool.
Well, okay. First of all, it's really inspired by GB herself. Like, I was watching a ton of ASMR videos, and I was partially watching them for ASMR and partially just because I was invested in this story. And I think you kind of explained, like, because you've been a fan of GB for so long, of like, she's reaching huge milestones, and like, she started from something small.
Right.
And like, I watched the video of her, like, getting her, I don't know, something Apple sent her, or something that YouTube sent her. Yeah, that gold thing.
Yeah.
That, and she was talking about it and talking about like how she like kind of just started setting goals and just started doing it and like just was putting it out there. And I was like, I could do that.
And it's so fun to watch her progress. Like,
yeah,
you can see the early videos.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just been like a year. Now I think she's been doing it for like 2 years and she's pretty successful.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I could probably do that one day, you know? And I just had thought that. And then one evening I was like, we have these mics still out from the podcast. And I just was like, maybe I'll make a joke video. I was like joking. And
a joke.
I don't think, have I sent you that
audio
one?
file?
Yeah, audio file. I don't know if I sent you this one where it was also in the midst of 21 Pilot stuff. So I was just like hyped. And I was probably needing to calm down. Probably. And went and read through all of the Clancy letters on ASMR. And it was like all just me whispering.
That was the first?
Yeah.
Have I heard that?
I don't think so.
I think I've heard that.
I don't know.
Well,
maybe.
but you have like, after that, you do have you put it on Dropbox?
No, I have a few that are like really janky. Like just like I was
but eventually maybe you did another version of going through the Clancy letters.
Yeah, I think I probably would. Yeah. No, then you've heard it.
I heard it.
Yeah. That was my first ASMR.
That's funny. I thought the one where Matthew interrupted you was your first.
No, that was my second.
Okay.
That was my first like true like I'm gonna sit down and try ASMR. The Clancy Letters was like I'm gonna whisper the letters. This will be
The
funny.
Clancy Letters one, if I remember correctly, is funny because you're having a hard time finding the things you want.
I can't find them for so
like,
like 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'm getting to it, guys. I'm gonna find it. Oh, dang it! You know, where are these? But you're whispering, but also kind of angry. That's not very soothing.
No, exactly. I was like, also, who is my audience?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
There's something so funny about just doing it
So what did
regardless
we
of an
upload?
audience. We uploaded me doing ASMR
Yeah.
at the ping pong table.
Yeah. So that's what's kind of fun for anybody that ends up listening to your ASMR episode. Maybe they'll go back and listen to it now. So in our stream or our feed, I guess we have Macy doing ASMR.
Yeah,
so
it's just called Macy ASMR.
That is probably your 7th or 8th attempt, and there's other things that we haven't released, but I've heard them.
That was probably that was it's.
But you're in the other ones. You're like talking to your imaginary audience.
Yeah, for sure. I think that one there's like a few where I'm a little bit I don't know. The mic situation is really difficult. Like we have mics that we have to hold with our hands. And
I wonder how you're doing it when I'm listening. I'm like, what's she doing?
I have to jerry rig the craziest setups every time. Today I had there's a cardboard box that I cut a hole in today that I plan on using to stick the mic in.
Oh my gosh. That's why you need Patreon support. You need a freaking mic stand.
So half my battle every time is figuring out the second mic.
Wow.
But it's so fun.
Oh, and you're doing two
And chill.
mics.
And chill.
Oh, honestly though, like there's this one thing that we could say of like, it's so. I mean, so Macy was saying you're a fan of your own ASMR. I'm a fan of your ASMR.
Yeah.
I think I listened to the first one you did where you were doing the gems and all that.
At the table, yeah.
I think I've listened to it 3 times, and for genuine soothing, it was soothing. It did the trick, and I don't have anything.
I have fallen asleep to my own ASMR, everybody.
Yeah, this is another side note. I do watch GB, but it's ironic that I'm trying to fall asleep watching ASMR, and yet the blue light on the screen it's proven that it keeps you up. So if you want to fall asleep, I have a hunch that podcast ASMR would be probably better. So you're doing it.
We're trying.
So I was listening to your ASMR stuff, but it is really funny to me to think about the visual of you doing it with your 2 microphones set up on like a cardboard box or whatever. I'm just getting to enjoy the like sounds and I'm relaxing, but then I could actually kind of wake up and get rattled in a funny way, like by what is she doing? Where are the mics? Where is she holding this?
And I drop something every 10 minutes. Yeah. My number one issue as an ASMR artist is I'm constantly dropping all the items. It's these harsh sounds.
That's so funny to me. It doesn't get old at this point. It may get old someday. But maybe for fun, maybe we'll do this on Patreon because now we're pumping it up. We'll release that initial ASMR.
I think I curse in it.
Yeah, we can edit that out. You say it.
Yeah.
First of all, when Macy was making this, she didn't know how to edit.
Yeah.
And she just keeps saying to this imaginary audience, I'm sorry, I will edit that out. I'm going to edit that. I'll have to edit that out.
I had no means of editing anything out. I was fully like, you have to pretend like you're in it. Like, you have to pretend like you've made it. And then...
I respect it. I even respect that you sent it to me. That's a vulnerable thing.
Well, I was like, I want feedback.
Yeah.
I want to know if this is actually if this is working.
It was.
And that's kind of how my ASMR videos tend to be. I'm like, hey, I've brought a few items to the table.
You keep saying videos. My videos. You've never made a video.
My audio files. I always just bring a bunch of items to the table, and I don't really know if it's going to be tingly or not. And I just kind of see.
I think that's the key. Because the sounds 9 out of 10 times are probably going to be tingly. But my favorite part of that first one, and I honestly, now that I'm even thinking about it, probably listen halfway to laugh. And I'm not saying that I'm saying that as a compliment. Like we're engaged, the listener. But man, for those of you, none of you have heard this yet, but Macy is playing with marbles and gems. And she's got these marbles, and like you can tell twice she does it. Like she's starting to play with the marbles. I don't know if I'm gonna leave this in there, but like it starts off really slow, and then you can tell she's getting carried away. And it's going faster and faster, and then as the listener,
Calm myself down.
well, you calm yourself down, but they fall on the floor.
Oh no.
It's like, and they get faster. I'm like, oh, here it goes. She's gonna drop it, and it's like,
Like it's so predictable.
yeah, and you're like, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to edit that out.
And then I don't. I'll just send you this file that's not edited.
But then you go through all these other things, gems, and then a very nice reading.
Yeah.
And then I think at the very end you bring back the marbles, and you're like, here's the marbles again. And it's like starts off slow again, and then you start to get carried away. You can like, I have to imagine you're doing it one-handed because you got the microphone, and then it's like falls again. They fall on the floor. I am so sorry that fell on the floor. That I have to edit that out. It's so good.
Oh, the ASM artist life, everybody. All I can say.
This is a big inside joke, but man, maybe this is encouraging you to get on Patreon and hear that episode.
Yeah,
so
true. Also,
you talk about rose quartz. It's very sweet. You have
do.
a complicated relationship with rose quartz.
I do have a complicated I would say my ASMR is like halfway also like a little bit like a weird spiritual service on some level. I tend to accidentally go there every time. I'm like, and I have a few readings, and I'm like, maybe I'll do a prayer, and then I always do a prayer, and I do some weird spiritual thing, but it's very open-ended.
It's so good.
I'm always encouraged
so
by.
good.
I never really know what I'm gonna read either, so I'm always encouraged. by what I'm gonna read.
that's part of the journey, right?
It is part of the journey.
In that first episode, you say, "I'm grabbing a book from my table here." You know, we're with you there. Like, so let's say that honestly. This is gonna introduce an entirely new thought, but if picture us being us, whoever is listening, in your room. And you're doing it. You're doing these things. Honestly, that would be even better ASMR. I don't even know. You could pay someone
live.
To do it. Like think
live
about
ASMR.
It. Well, no. Live ASMR.
Well, because
yes.
I am here for it, and I've been thinking about that as
on
a
thing. Stage.
Yes.
Perfect. But listen, we were talking about weirdness earlier, and I think I'll release a rant someday. My own rant about weirdness.
Yes.
But like everything is weird. Things have been normalized, and we think things that are different are weird, and we're sketched out by them. So. ASMR.
That was the most.
This isn't my rant. I'm going to do an
Okay.
official rant because if I started, I'd lose control.
It's true.
So think about how it has, for some reason, been normalized. That follow me, everybody. Follow me for a second.
I'm following.
It's normal for you to pay a person to rub your body. I'm saying it like that because we're talking about massage. Maybe you haven't done that, but it's fairly normal. If I was walking down the street and I told somebody I had a massage this week, people are like, "Oh yeah, massage, great." I paid someone to do my own personal ASMR session this week. So you know what I'm saying? Like, what if somebody paid you and you're like, "Welcome to my room. I'm just gonna here's my gems, here's my marbles, just personal."
That would take a very special person to be able to do that.
I
first
would
of all.
so be there for it though. I would do it. I wouldn't. I don't feel comfortable doing ASMR like you do, but I would go do that.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Interesting.
And then if you go, I'm just going to pick a book off my shelf now, and we're gonna find a passage to read. I'm like, okay, what passage? What book? You know,
that's so fascinating. You know what's really interesting is you telling that story. I only saw myself as the person who was the one being the consultant, and you only saw yourself as the one going.
Yeah, I that's the funny thing is that there's nothing in me that wants to do ASMR. You know,
that's
just
so
like
funny.
if I went and got a massage, I'm not wanting to be a masseuse, but I'm so thankful for the masseuse. I'm so thankful for the person doing ASMR. You know, thank you.
Yeah, I have found
but
that
the fact
that
you don't know what the reading is makes it part of the ASMR journey. You're picking out the book. You're like, let's see.
And that's something that I wanted to add is that I'm a person who tends to struggle slowing down with ideas, and like I can get a little carried away in thought. It's to my benefit and sometimes not to my benefit. And ASMR has been a really fun and cool way for me to kind of like end the day reflectively. And it challenges me to be slow. And that's something that I'm finding myself like constantly as I'm doing it. In the beginning, I'm always a little worried that I'm not going to have enough material or whatever for like, I try to do an hour-long ASMR. And I always in the beginning have to remind myself, like in the beginning, I'm saying, take your time. Like it's okay. And I like in my head, like I'm keeping saying like, there's no rush.
Right.
Like there's literally no
You're in
rush.
total
And
control.
that's part of it. And then I get lost in it. And then I look up and I'm like, I've only done one of the things. And it's like 50 minutes in.
Wow.
And it's because I've finally allowed myself to slow down.
That's so cool.
It's really cool. So it also can
people
invite...
that are listening to ASMR aren't like, hurry up, get to the point.
No.
The point is the slowness.
The expectation is that you would be slow. And there's something so cool about that, of that me like learning to slow down is benefiting others. The 3 people who listen.
Okay, let me just say one more thing about that.
Yeah.
This is real, and it just happened today. First of all, did you take a nap today?
No. There's no way.
I
so
saw
hard.
Macy earlier today, and she said she was going to take a nap. I took a nap.
You did? Good job.
Did. I was going to go running, and then I said, actually, I don't know. This is an Enneagram thing, but I'm trying to go against that thing of like, I've got to punish my body, essentially. So I was like, I'm not going to go running because I'm tired. I'm going to take a nap. So I took a nap, and it was a nice nap. But I remember I was kind of struggling, dozing off because I was thinking about like my life. And I literally 100% thought about your listening party for your ears. And I thought about like, use the noises. Like there's birds out there, there's the train, there's jets flying over, whatever. And I was just like, just focus on the noises. Like treat it like Macy's listening party. And I did. And that's what helped me actually eventually fall asleep.
Wow.
But I don't know. Like there's something about that seems pretty spiritual, of saying, I'm going to talk about these pens I'm about to draw with. And we're like, get to the drawing. It's like, the pens are special. The noises that you're hearing here are special. The fact that we have ears to hear. The fact that we even hear noises is cool and special. Like, let's just appreciate that for a second.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts right now.
Thought train.
It's too many. But the one thing I'll say, I think I have 2 things. But the first thing I'll say is about doing it is it has helped me to appreciate. Like, I have to, like, a part of it, I'm, like, looking at this one bag because I've described it in an ASMR, this, like, very specific bag of Sharpies, and I will sit and try and describe it as best because I'm just doing audio, and I recognize that my listener can't see, so I'm almost forced to try and describe things in a way that someone could visualize it, which has helped me to, like, create language around things and see things and notice like intricacy and color in things because like I have to have a language to describe it to an audience.
Wow.
Which is so cool. And then my second thing is it also has helped me to appreciate just little noises. Like everywhere could be turned into ASMR and like turned into ASMR, but you can start to experience sounds and be aware of them. I think it helps cultivate an awareness of the like little noises. So like when if I don't know, say I had the task of like having to stuff envelopes, I could be like, oh, I have to stuff envelopes. Or I could be like, I get to methodically like do this nice task and it'll be neat. And like, I can take my time and like enjoy the process of it and enjoy the feelings of the papers and things like that.
I think that's profound.
Yeah, I think an ASMR is tapping into that.
Yeah.
It's like calling us to like slow down and notice the small things and be like, aware and present in the smallness. There's a presence to ASMR.
So that's unexpected. I wasn't expecting to think about ASMR, and I said that even as I was talking about my nap. I wasn't expecting it to go to this place of like beyond just the pure enjoyment of watching an ASMR and calming down. But you're saying like it helps you have a more of a presence to your everyday life.
I think so. I think that doing it has helped me in a way that watching didn't. Like, I think I don't know, it's really hard to describe.
Yeah, I bet.
It's really hard
Only
to describe. But
it.
I think that it's really clear, like, so there's this one video, or I keep saying video, audio, of where I'm doing ASMR and Maddie walks in. And it is, like, so clear in the audio that I, like, was so disrupted by it.
You're really rattled and
I
very
was, like,
confused. And the funniest part about it is, for like the first 60 seconds, you're still whispering. Maddie, I'm doing ASMR. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? I'm like, what? She's still whispering. What? That is so bizarre. If somebody came in on me, I'd be like, oh, hey, I'm just doing ASMR.
No, but I was so in the zone.
Yeah.
Like, I was so in the zone. I didn't want to speak out loud. I wish that I could have, like, I wanted to keep it low. I wanted to keep it, or what minute are we at?
We're at an hour 15.
Oh, we got to wrap it up. ASMR.
I think it'd be cool, not to go all in, but like what could you do some like examples of like what you do in your ASMR, like in terms of sounds?
I guess I've never done ASMR in terms of. So first of all, when I'm doing ASMR, I like whisper talk the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's part of that. That's a very soothing.
It's a very like soothing thing where it's like, hello everybody. I don't have headphones in, which is also a huge part of me.
You're not in the
ASMR.
mode right now, but I was like talking about like the tapping and
noise.
the pens.
Yeah, so we have like a jar of pens.
I don't even have headphones in though. It's already.
I think I have some dye. And I have cards. Should I shuffle cards?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get a deck of cards really quickly. I now have a deck of cards.
This is what's kind of fun about this too is like Macy has said she's very proud of her shuffling.
Have I said I'm proud of my shuffling?
Mm-hmm.
I am. Because it took me so long to learn.
So good. I think those are just some examples. And if you go back and listen to our ASMR episode or Macy's ASMR episode that we put on the feed, that's one of my favorite parts on many levels. Just knowing Macy is like, I'd actually, as a fan, honestly, I'd love to see the card she was talking about because she posted pictures on our Instagram. But like the way she describes these cards are so cool.
They're really cool.
The vibrant colors and she shuffles them and stuff like that. But you really do feel like you're what we started with this sort of childlike experience. Like Macy had this childlike experience. I had a childlike experience with this kid Devin trying to explain constructs. It's like what type of world are we living in where like somebody's going to sit and tell you about their deck of cards and shuffle them for you and just sit and zone out and
it is
it's really relaxing.
Like we live in a very strange world. Like we all are aware of it. The world we live in is odd. We're doing what we can with it, and this is a cool part of it, I think. Mm-hmm. Check it out. You might enjoy it.
Check it out.
I've been like blessed by it.
Me too.
It's like helped me in ways I didn't think possible and helped me in like, I think growing ways. I think I'm like, I just think people should check it out.
Check out ASMR.
We're going to have, we have a blog in show notes and we're going to have a blog that has like links to YouTube videos for different things because also like music, ASMR, people have different preferences. So there's such different kinds of ASMRs out there. So if you like are curious, don't just go watch GB. Watch a few different ASMR artists because there's going to be different kinds of ASMR that maybe will appeal best to you.
Yes. And if you find one that you think we'd like, tell us.
Yeah, this is true. Are we wrapping this up?
I think so. It's so
this was
hard.
a scattered episode, but I think a really
is there
fun
a non-scattered episode?
This is true. I think this was a really fun episode, but I'm like, what did we even talk about right now?
We talked about ASMR.
We did. We shared our stories.
It went by fast because I think we like this.
We love this.
Yeah.
yeah, check it out.
Check out ASMR, and let's see. I will also just say, I don't think we know what our Macy's doing it. We don't know what our episode next week will be. We'll come up with it soon.
Maybe send us
Suggestions.
DM us on Instagram or send us an email with what you want us to talk about. Maybe we will do it.
We have about
like,
100 topics that we want to cover.
So we'll throw it in the mix for sure. It'll be within the conversation if you send us a DM.
Absolutely. But I also am reminding people that every 5 episodes we're doing Enneagram.
Every 5 episodes Enneagram, and hopefully every 5 episodes on the 8, the 13, the 8s and the 3s interviews. We're sold out on Enneagram. What do you mean sold out?
We are sold in.
We are like we are all in on the Enneagram.
And we could honestly just do an Enneagram podcast, but I know that's not what we're doing.
We could probably eventually. We are all in on the Enneagram, but we are also one step in on a very long journey with the Enneagram.
Yes.
We invite you all to it, and we're going to invite you to it every 5 weeks when we do our Enneagram episodes. And then potentially Patreon will have some more Enneagram content. Also, if you keep supporting us, keep
it up, everybody.
If you support us on Patreon and you keep supporting us, and you like our Enneagram content, we may be able to become people who know more about the Enneagram. Who knows? Who knows what could happen with this no small team. It's no small thing. Thank you for listening and making it to the end of this episode.
You're ending it this time. That's great.
I'm going to put my mic down.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.